What's going on, Chargers fans? Chargers Now is presented by Prize Picks. I'm your host, Will Ortner, and I love Moose. I want that very clear. He's a very fun coworker that I enjoy working with here at Chat Sports. He's got opinions and he's got takes, but he is a good man. Good guy. Very much enjoy him and his time here. Make sure that you don't lambaste him too much. But this was a take that I saw, and Moose said that Bo Nix was so much better than Justin Herbert, that he was better in the clutch, he's got a better turnover-worthy throw percentage in the playoffs, and he wins. And he went on to say that Herbert is the most overrated QB in the National Football League. I want this very clear when I say this. Moose is an idiot. I like the guy. Very much enjoy our time talking to each other. But the idea that Bo Nix is even in the ballpark with Justin Herbert is such a reach. It is such a travesty. And it really all stemmed from this CBS rankings from Pete Prisco. Now, I remember sitting at my desk just having a normal day here in the office, and then I just heard a bunch of complaining about Justin Herbert being a top 10 QB and Bo Nix not even being in the conversation. We also know that Pete Prisco is not the only one that thinks that Justin Herbert is a top 10 quarterback. Colin Cowherd has gone on about how highly he thinks of Justin Herbert, so much so that he put Herbert not in his top 10 QBs, but really in his top 5 QBs. That's how impressive he has seen Justin Herbert in his time. And in my opinion, these two takes are more in alignment with where Justin Herbert should be viewed in the National Football League. He is a great quarterback who has shown time and time again that he can rise above those around him. While the postseason success might not be there necessarily, I don't think it's fair to put 100% blame on Justin Herbert. To me, he's almost a victim of his own success. Joe Burrow hasn't been in the postseason in I don't know how long, yet we're still talking about him as being this Messiah-like figure in the National Football League, someone that is very talented, very good in a Tier 1 QB. Well, Justin Herbert every single year wins enough to get into the postseason, especially since Jim Harbaugh has been the coach here in Los Angeles. And the fact that he is continuing to get dogged like this, I think is absolutely disrespectful. Subscribe to the channel. You love the Los Angeles Chargers. You love a lot of promotion around the Los Angeles Chargers. We're going to make sure that we give that to you here on the channel. So both Bo Nix and Justin Herbert have been in the National Football League now for 2 years. So let's look at the last 2 years between these two QBs when we look at who is the better quarterback. First of all, it's important for everyone to remember that Herbert's stats are miles and miles better than Bo Nix. Justin Herbert completes the ball at a higher percentage. Justin Herbert has less yards, but he's averaging more yards per game because he has missed more regular season games than Bo Nix. Mind you, that number is 1. You can't tell me that he wouldn't have more passing yards if Herbert doesn't have that extra game played. His average per throw is higher. The touchdown number is lower. Again, he's missed a game. That's going to knock him down a little bit. But also, Justin Herbert, they utilize the run there. He doesn't throw interceptions. Bo Nix is a Sean Payton merchant right now. And it's important to remember that Justin Herbert did all of this with Greg freaking Roman as his offensive coordinator. Look, I'm not here to attack another man. Greg Roman's had a very successful career coaching football in the National Football League. It's important to know, and it's important to remember, that Sean Payton's been the guy who's been taking care of Bo Nix. I think it's pretty obvious that Sean Payton clears Greg Roman. So to me, when you look at the stats of both of them being in the National Football League for quite some time, guess what? Justin Herbert's stats are greater than Bo Nix's stats. And that, to me, is easy. It's not something that you can debate. I've got more points to make sure that I hit on here on today's program. But first, I need to let you know that today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 sports picks app and is the best place to win cash while watching sports. With the baseball season in full swing, there's no better time to cash in with our friends at Prize Picks. And I'll tell you this, the app is really easy to use. To qualify for a Prize Picks lineup, pick 2 to 6 players and select more or less on stat projections, including hits, home runs, strikeouts, and several others across all sports. One thing I love is the new social feeds feature, where you can share Prize Picks with your friends and copy lineups with a single click. You can actually follow me on the app, at BigWill7774, to see all of my lineups. I have a lineup for the football action going on later on this year. Justin Herbert, more on his pass yards. Quentin Johnston, more on his receiving TDs. Rashid Shaheed, more on his receiving yards. New user offer. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to receive $50 in lineups. That's code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to get an extra $50 in lineups with Prize Picks. Clickable link to download the app is in the comments and description. So we've already talked about how Herbert's stats are better than Bo Nix's, right? It's also important to remember that this is a team game. This isn't basketball, right? So what do the pieces around you look like? Nix has had a better offensive line the entire time that he's been in the National Football League. It is no secret that the Los Angeles Chargers have struggled when it comes to protecting Herbert. When you look at sacks taken since both of these players entered the league, Justin Herbert doubles the amount of sacks that Bo Nix has had. Now, some of that you can say, hey, look, not every sack is on the offensive line. Some of the sacks are on Justin Herbert. Fair. But also some of the sacks are on Bo Nix. And the fact that Justin Herbert in the last 2 years has almost been sacked, not hit, not pressured, sacked almost 100 times is egregious. And it's honestly organizational malpractice. When you look at the offensive line rankings in the National Football League, there is no better offensive line right now in the NFL than the Denver Broncos. And the Denver Broncos offensive line has been able to give Nix time to be able to deliver strikes, find open receivers. They've allowed him time to sit in the pocket, really go through his reads, and try and find an open wide receiver or tight end. When you look at the offensive line right now in Denver, that's a solid group. Every single one of those guys has played very well, and it's been clear that they have put a big investment in that offensive line. When you look at the Chargers' offensive line, believe it or not, that's the best the offensive line has looked. Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt being injured obviously is going to add to the offensive line not doing all so well the last couple of years, specifically last year. But to sit here and say that this isn't the best interior offensive line unit between Biotish, Cole Strange, and either Jake Slaughter or Coyote Oshika would be wrong. This is the best group that they have had. And yet, at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and say that that Chargers O-line easily clears the Denver Bronco O-line. Hopefully they will, or at least they'll be serviceable enough, but the offensive line has been atrocious, and we don't give enough credit in football circles on how important that offensive line is to a quarterback. Let me know in our comment section, did the Los Angeles Chargers do enough to fix their offensive line? I'm interested in what you have to say down below. Let me know. Say it with your chest. I think it's clearly improved. I think it's been close to fixed. But I don't know if it has 100% fully entered into that fixed mark just yet. Let's talk about Herbert's offensive play callers. To sit here and say that he has had an easy transition from college football into the National Football League is an understatement. Now, I'm not going to lie and say that Herbert has not had any good offensive coordinators because that would be wrong. When you look at the list, Shane Steichen, Kellen Moore, those guys have been pretty good. So good that, well, now they're head coaches. But to sit here and say that Lombardi and Roman were great, that's an understatement. They were clearly not. An incorrect statement is what I should have said because they were not good. Roman was so archaic in his systems that every defense knew exactly what they were going to go against. And finally, for the first time, I think, in his career, Herbert is getting an offensive coordinator that is changing how he does things and helping propel him forward to being a great quarterback in the National Football League. He was a great quarterback despite what was being asked of him. McDaniel has an innovative mind. He's on the forefront of what offenses are going to be and what they are going to do. And he is someone that designs an offense to make life as easy as possible for the quarterback. To me, this is a clear match made in heaven. And this is a clear upside to Herbert because he's had to do all these things and he's been better than Bo Nix without a good OC. Imagine what he's going to do with his OC. Now, the last piece of why I think Herbert clears Nix is a little bit unfair to Nix, but let's just be honest. Justin Herbert has done this for a lot longer. There was a point in time where Vince Young was considered a good quarterback in the National Football League. Vince Young was so good that they put him on a Madden cover. He was an Offensive Rookie of the Year, if I remember correctly. Bo Nix has been in the league for 2 years. I think he's going to be someone that Chargers fans are going to love to hate for the next 5 to 10 years. I really do. I think you're going to hear a lot more blow Nix jokes. I really do think you're going to hear that. But Justin Herbert has been around the National Football League for longer than a cup of coffee. Justin Herbert is someone that year in and year out gets 3,000 yards and no problem. Again, doing that in an offense that frankly wasn't all that good. Justin Herbert has shown year after year that he can continue to grow. Now, Bo Nix has had a good start to his career. I'm not going to sit here and lie and sugarcoat it to you. But to sit here and say that Bo Nix is someone that is clearly going to have a successful career all the way through, I don't think that's completely correct. I think when you talk to a lot of NFL experts, when you look at his class, a lot of people think highly of Bo Nix, but in his draft class, his best case scenario is that he's third, right? There's some that are going to say that he's fourth between Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May. Those guys right now, they're having a lot of success too. To me, Justin Herbert is someone who's clearly not a flash in the pan. Justin Herbert has shown that year in and year out, he's going to be successful in the National Football League. And I think it's easy for people to look at both these guys being former Oregon quarterbacks and compare them and go after them. Look, it pained me a little bit to do this video as someone who loves the Oregon football team, and I might be the only guy who talks about the Chargers every single day and covers the Chargers that says, Bo Nix is fine. I root for him, not against the Chargers, but I hope he does okay, right? I just think it's silly. It's laughable. Justin Herbert is a guy who's a top of tier 2 QB, borderline tier 1 quarterback. Justin Herbert is just now finally getting treated like that. And he's finally getting a team that's going to be built around him for success. And yeah, there's going to be arguments of, well, there were guys in positions before, and Herbert hasn't always looked great in the postseason. But at the same time, there are arguments right now that attack Herbert that I think make him a victim of his own success. If Justin Herbert didn't pull that team last year to the postseason, almost single-handedly, then we wouldn't be talking about him being 0-3 in the playoffs. We'd be talking about him being 0-2, right? So, to me, Herbert has shown that he is the better QB and will be viewed as the better QB. Who is better? Let me know in the comment section. Is it Justin Herbert? Is it Bo Nix? Even as a Duck guy, I'm telling you it's Herbert. And I don't think it's close. Sorry, Moose. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you don't miss any Chargers news or rumors all off-season long. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video. I really appreciate it. Can't wait to see you next time. And, of course, bolt up.